Welcome back to Shorts or Shotty Tutorials. We're here continuing back from AG. Welcome back. Get some popcorn. Have a nice watch. Here we go, part two.
Woo! Okay, so in the last part, we broke down calculating that interest and calculating the effective rate. And as we're saying, that's a bit laborious, so there is a formula that we can use. Now, formula, which is on the screen at the moment, she does look meaty. And if we look at it, it allows us to calculate the R effective rate. And if you like, instead of writing the whole word effective, you can just write R and then EFF, that's fine. And it comes from doing 1 plus R divided by N over 100, all to the power of N, minus 1 times 100, where little r is still our nominal or annual interest rate per annum. We've seen that before. And N is the number of times it's going to compound in 1 year. In actual fact, this first bit here of 1 plus R over N over 100, that's technically our formula for capital R that we've already seen before. Because if it's compounding, say, monthly, we do divide that little rate divided by the number of compounds first to get that rate there. And the minus 1 part then, we know that capital R gives us a value like 1.05. So that minus 1 is just getting rid of that 1 at the front. So then we just get the rest of what the actual interest rate is when we times it by 100. So that's what's happening in that formula there. We're going to use the formula to answer the next question, and then I'm going to end with my calculator hack, which is much faster than using this formula, but we need to know the formula. So that needs to be in your reference book because you need to be able to recognise it and use it if you see it. But then I'll show you the calculator hack, which is what you'll more than likely use. Okay. It says here that James would like to borrow $12,000, and they're deciding between 2 loan options. So they're deciding between option A, which is 4.72% per annum compounding monthly, and option B, which is 4.7% per annum compounding weekly. Calculate the effective interest rate for each investment and then which investment option is best and why. I think when we look at these straight away, like we're borrowing money, we know that we want to pay back the least amount possible. And it's a little bit hard for us to decide here because one of them is compounding more regularly than the other, and one of them has a higher rate than the other as well. So off face value right now, I can't pick straight away which one is the best one, all right? If I calculate these R effective rates for part A, so if I'm looking at option A and that effective interest rate, I need to fill that into that formula there. So what I need to do, first of all, open up my first set of brackets, 1 plus, and then I need to put little r divided by n. My interest rate is 4.72, and it's compounding monthly, so this is going to say divided by 12. All of that over 100. Close that bracket. I'm doing that to the power of 12 because it's monthly, minus 1, close that, and times that by 100. I need to type this into the main menu of my calculator, and it's really important that I type this accurately, and so use my brackets and the fraction function that's in the keyboard as well. So I've got 2 brackets, 1 plus, and then the fraction, 4.72 divided by 12 over 100, close my bracket, to the power of 12, minus 1, close my bracket, times 100, and we get 4.82%. So that effective rate right now is 0.1% higher than that annual rate, okay? If I repeat this for option B, again, I'm using that formula. I'm going to put in 4.7 for the rate, but this time I'm putting in 52 for N because it's compounding weekly. I'm going to head back to my calculator here now. And again, double bracket, 1 plus fraction, 4.7 over 52, all divided by 100, to the power of 52, minus 1 times 100. Oh, sorry, minus 1, close my bracket, times 100. and I get 4.81%. Now, part B asks me which is the best option for me to pick and why. Remember, in this situation here, James is borrowing money and we want to pay back the least amount of money possible. So if I look at those two effective rates of what's effectively happening across the year, option B with 4.81% is the best option because it's got the lower average interest rate. Okay, so I'd be picking the weekly option B because the effective rate is lower. Even though that's compounding weekly, which might be an argument for me to not pick it on face value and be scared by it, in that case, it is the better option. And if you think about this in the real world, for example, the bank probably knows that that's the case, but they're assuming that most people that rock up to borrow money don't really have much idea about money, and they're going to sell you whatever they can to make themselves more money. So they're going to be there going to you, well, compounding weekly means the interest gets calculated more often. The monthly one's better for you because it gets calculated less, and that interest rate's a real small difference, so it doesn't matter. And they would try and then nudge you into the other option. Okay. I said to you I was going to show you something on your calculator, so I actually want you to open up your calculator for me and follow along. I want you to head to your main menu screen, and you should see here a financial box which has a yellow icon on it. I don't think any of you will have opened this before, but depending on where you got your calculator from, someone else might have used it. So hopefully you've got this menu that I've got where it says financial and a whole list of things. If it's got something else open, up the top, just press edit, clear all, and you'll get back to this first main page. From this page, lots of these options we won't use. We're going to use the compound interest one a lot in chapter 9, but for today I want us to click on interest conversion. And when we're in this, what's really handy is we can press help down the bottom, and it tells me what all these letters stand for. So for N, we can see that N stands for number of times that interest is compounded per year. We can see that EFF is the effective interest rate as a percent. And it says APR. I honestly have no idea why it's called APR, but if you read the help thing, it says nominal interest rate as a percent. Okay. If you look at those things on the left, can you see that EFF and APR look like boxes around them and then N just looks like N? What the boxes mean, I always have to have something in N, but if I know one of the other two, I can type one in and then press the other box and it'll solve it for me. So if I know the effective interest rate and the number of times it compounds, your calculator will undo the math to find the nominal rate. If I know the nominal rate and the number of times it compounds, your calculator will do the formula we just did to find the effective interest rate. Okay? So if we suss this out for this question that we just did together, for part A, we said that it's 4.72% per annum, compounding monthly. So I'm going to put in 12 for N because that's the number of times it's compounding in a year. That nominal rate is going to go in my APR box, and because it's there as a percent, I just have to type in 4.72. And then you can take your cursor or you can tap and you can press on that EFF box, and it'll solve that for you, and we get that 4.82% that we found before. In a much faster process, I hope you agree. We can then change this and do the same thing for part B. If you like, you can go edit and press clear page and that'll just delete it all, or you can just type over whatever's in there. We're going to change N now to be 52 because it's compounding weekly. That 4.7%, again, that's my nominal rate, so that's going to go in the third box in APR, so I'm going to put 4.7 there. And now if I click on EFF, I get that rate of 4.81. And if you do want to flick back to the main menu, I'm just going to switch over and check the decimals. You can see that all those decimals are the same as what I'd already found for us before. So that part of your calculator in there, in that financial solver, calculates that effective interest rate for us very, very speedily compared to the formula. That's it for 8G. Remember, the effective interest rates just allows us to have a mechanism to compare them, and we can compare things without even knowing how much money is invested. It doesn't matter what the investment is, it just matters what the rates are and how many times it compounds in a year, and therefore we can very quickly compare which one's better without even calculating all of the interest there. Please go answer all the stuff from 8G. I don't think there's any questions on the list, so you need to do all of them, and I will see you next term. Like and subscribe. Bye.